This is Daylight and Moonshine with me, Family Reunion G. This is all family right here, y'all. We used to hang out a lot, and Jimmy moved, and that was our that was our hangout spot. So we blame him, and we have to meet via Zoom. Today's topic will be a part 2 of the misconception of gay. Today we have RJ coming back along with Jimmy, and Natasha's joining us, and Raymond's also joining us. Elsa will not be on this episode today due to she's just spending time with family, and that's super important. We will miss her, but the show must go on, so we will definitely have a good show. Stick with us. We'll be back. Welcome back to the D.A.M podcast, y'all. Episode 31. And like I mentioned before, today is a part 2 of the misconception of gay. The last episode, we had a very deep conversation, and hopefully, I know I learned a whole lot. Hopefully, the people that were listening, the D.A.M listeners, learned a lot right along with me. And we're going to continue that learning process and that sharing process with our guests today. So welcome back to the D.A.M podcast, Jimmy and RJ, and welcome for the first time. We saw Natasha peek in before, but this is her real debut. Welcome, Natasha and Raymond, to the D.A.M podcast. Yes,
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So today, it was definitely a need for a part 2 because you cannot cram in everything that needed to be discussed in 1 hour plus long episode. You know, this is a heavy topic that need to be sort of spread out over actually more than 2 episodes. Maybe we'll come back again, who knows? But the perspective of Raymond and Natasha to me is very important because they are 2 individuals that could very easily just pass as straight. And me being a straight...
Clearly, I cannot.
I'll rewind back years ago, and I have a couple stories to tell, and I'm curious to know what you guys think about it. But I say it that way because years ago, my thought process, and I'm sure a lot of other people is, well, if you can pass for straight, then why not just, pass for straight? Of course, I get it now. Back then, I definitely did not get it. Like, what is that? What does that even mean? It's so offensive to even think that now. But once again, this is here to provide people that still have that sort of mentality, that way of thinking, is to provide them some light. How you guys doing today? Natasha, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling chill. I feel relaxed. I'm off work, so I feel good.
Best part of the day when you're done with work.
I got my baby here.
Raymond,
and your other baby right here.
Of course.
Oh, by the way, Jimmy and Raymond, that's they're twins. I don't know if you guys noticed or not.
Don't be knocking our twinship now. Come on now.
It's an ongoing
if these
thing.
Names weren't here, y'all would be so confused.
Right, well, with the glasses. How you doing today, Raymond?
Well, I'm doing great. I can't complain. I'm hoping for some warmer weather, obviously, being Jamaican. This back and forth between flirting with 80s and 90s and going back to 60s is not really sitting well with me. But away from that, I'm doing good. Can't complain.
I feel you. I feel you. RJ, how you doing?
I had a rough day at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I'm good. When I got home to my baby, she made me feel better.
That's what it's all about. That's definitely what it's all about. Mr. Jimmy Lee Lard, how are you doing today?
I'm good. It was a relaxing day, a little yard work, and I'm here.
Absolutely. So happy to have you all here. I'm not going to stretch this episode on too long, but I truly appreciate every single one of you taking time out of your day for this. I know you could be somewhere relaxing or doing something else. I truly appreciate you taking the time out, each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Definitely.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay. I have an extended list on top of the list of things that we went through the first time. I wanted to share a few things. Right off bat, one is public displays of affection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, I'll go back and forth. When I tell my stories, it's OG and current G, unfortunately. But I wanted to share a story that I did not get a chance to share last time about me and my ex, me and my daughter's mom, my kid's mom. We were at an IHOP years ago, and my daughter was a toddler, I believe. She was like toddler age. And we're just there eating and enjoying ourselves, something that we rarely did. We didn't really do stuff like that. So this was like a rare occasion. We're out, and there was this young same-sex couple that was young, because that was the thing that sort of stood out to me. They were kind of young, and they were just going at it in the booth next to us. So at that moment, it was pretty, for me, it was like, whoa, you know, you can't be prepared for that type of conversation, especially with such a young child. And on one hand, I felt like, okay, well, they're, you know, two people making out. It's not a big deal. I had never seen two straight folks making out in front of my daughter. So it was the overwhelming feeling of, how do you explain people kissing and they were just going at it pretty heavy? One, and then two, them being the same sex to a child that young. So we tried our best to avoid it. Like, we literally made her switch sides, and it was just awkward, really awkward. We just kind of looked at each other and we talked about it a little bit afterwards. But I wanted to get each and every one of your opinions on that. Like, the way I feel about public displays of affection, there is, regardless of sex, there is etiquette. You know, you do little nibbles and little feels and touches and all that stuff in public, but just like, you know, you feel like a private part is going to be whipped out in 2 seconds. To me, is just too damn much. And with anybody, that's how I feel about anybody, just in general. So for me, or for each one of you, how do you feel about public displays of affection just down the line? Is it appropriate just in general? And anybody can jump in there and answer that.
I'll say this. It's weird that, you know, I think that's more of an American thing, where it's like, you know, so much stuff is taboo that isn't in other places. Well, it depends on the place, I guess, too, because some places, you know, you can barely hold hands without, you know, causing a big scene. But it's almost like we demonize love. So you know that there are going to be people in the world that you see out who are going to show affection to one another. So that's that. Now, one thing I will say, if it's your approach, what you're saying, where I don't care if it's, you know, gay or straight, you know, if it's just over the top, then that's a problem, you know, then I agree with that. You know, that's cool. You know, if it's like one of those get a room type situations, definitely, then whatever. But at the same time, even when it is extreme, if the only reason you're mad about it is because it's a gay couple, then that's a problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm one personally, I match the energy of the person I'm with. We could walk down the streets and never touch hands. We could walk down the street kissing every block. Whatever works for that person is cool with me. I was just literally telling the story a couple nights ago while I was in Chicago. My ex and I were down at Buckingham Fountain. And I almost had to whoop a homeless man's ass. How you gonna be homeless and homophobic? Like, dude, you ain't even got a house. So, but we were literally just sitting. We weren't kissing. We weren't doing anything. But we were sitting on a park bench on one of the benches in front of the fountain, holding hands. And he just started going in on us. And next thing you know, I'm going back at him, so it almost got ugly, but it did not. So for some people, that's what bothers them. Now, Unfortunately, though, G, a lot of people will hide behind the whole, well, I don't care if it's gay or straight philosophy too, when they've walked past many straight couples doing worse and haven't said a word. So, people will still hide behind that whole thing. So, but I'll shut up after that and let you guys take it.
So, I think this is something that I dealt with on a personal level of how to, show affection to the person that I'm with. And, I guess born and raised in Jamaica, there is a different mindset and a different mentality. Because I remember when I started dating or said that I was in this lifestyle, I don't care who you were, you couldn't have touched me in public. You couldn't have held my hands in public. You couldn't have make any type of gesture. Even if you were like my friend and you put your hands around my shoulder as a guy, I would back away from that. So those are stuff that I used to run away from. As I become more comfortable with myself, I realize nothing is wrong with that. But there's a limit to everything. Like, just think of watching a rated R movie versus a PG-13 movie. I like to stay in the PG-13 lane. Some things should be left to the imagination, especially the type of environment you're around. If I'm in an environment that I know there are kids or individual who may think that what I'm doing may not suit their believed and they have kids around, then I won't necessarily be that affectionate to who I'm with. But if I am in, say, a setting of an adult setting, I really don't care how affectionate I am, because you can be affectionate to who you are, and I'm not going to judge you based on that. But I think it would still be the same if I was a straight man and kids was present. I would have restrict what I do and how I do it around those individuals the same. I think nothing is wrong with showing public affection, but there's a time, a space for that, and depending on the explicitity of what is going on.
Yeah, definitely.
I completely agree. I mean, there's only so much PDA that I want to see. I don't want to see all that in public. That's just me. And some people, like Jimmy said, it really would only look twice if it was a same sex or same gender couple. I don't even know if you know that I really wasn't even comfortable with PDA. I mean, like Raymond, I wasn't. Well, my family's from the Caribbean, so that already was just internalized in myself. I found it a little weird, when mother and daughters and stuff held hands and stuff like it just made me uncomfortable. And I really was not comfortable showing PDA holding hands probably about 20 years ago, because I was, nervous of the stares and stuff like that. But I'm way more comfortable now. You would never know, because now you're holding hands. Yeah, there's somebody part grabbing, in the grocery stores and in malls and stuff like that. But I'm completely comfortable because I'm comfortable in who I am. We're not doing anything inappropriate.
The difference in the world.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said being comfortable with yourself makes all the difference in the world. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It really does. You
Yeah.
don't, I mean, the outside people, none of that matters. We're not, get a room status, we're not doing any of that. We're really just showing our affection towards each other like we would do around friends, family, in our own home. Well,
Yeah,
really.
walls can talk.
All right.
Not really, but just the normal stuff,
Natasha, you said something that's really valid though. When you says stuff you do around your family, if you don't think you could do it around your family, then you shouldn't be doing it in public.
Exactly.
Hey, I agree.
And that's almost what it seemed like. They were teenagers, I believe, and it almost seemed or felt like we cannot do this anywhere else. So they were going on. They were, how the IHOP's benches are. They're benches. They're comfortable. They were damn near laying down in those in the bench, and it's a restaurant. Like
that's too much.
That's just inappropriate.
It's too much. And like I said, it felt like they were just.
It's just inappropriate.
But what Natasha and Raymond just said, what you would do in front of your family, you also have to understand too that different people, look at it differently, and different people will do different things around their family too. So, you have to, if you're in public, you should be prepared to see anything, honestly. Because, people can, for some person, French kissing is too much. For somebody else, we might do a peck. Somebody else, we'll just hold hands. But you could get anywhere in that range, so the spectrum is wide. So hell, you might see somebody doing worse in public.
And
that
was it for me. That was it for me. And it was basically like, and Jimmy knows me well, like I usually think 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. I was completely unprepared as a parent to have that conversation. You think about like the birds and the bees and all these conversations that you're going to eventually have with your kids. And now it's, PDA and same sex, this conversation I have to have at the same time with this little girl that I was completely unprepared for. So it really caught me off guard.
But you know what the funny thing though, G, is that things have changed so much that young people, kids, are so much more exposed now that they almost don't bat an eye to it. We're still harboring the 30 and 40 years of weird shit that we've been instilled or whatever, but these kids don't bat an eye.
But as a parent, it still has to be a conversation.
My son didn't blink.
But as a parent, that's what I'm saying. It still has to be a conversation. That's the part. Yeah, that's just.
I think it's. Well, what I'm saying is, I think it's harder for you than it is for them.
Quite possible. Yeah, absolutely. And
like,
then me back then was a heavy overthinker. So absolutely, yeah.
You said, and you were an overthinker
back then, my friend. Yeah.
Right. You said,
man, I grow and develop, man. Yeah, this ain't the same OG.
No, but G, I've evolved. But I also think that G, if it was a guy and a girl, I'm not a parent, but just to think of how, as a parent, what I would want to see, I don't think I want to see my toddler watching two people making
not at all,
regardless of their sexual orientation.
Absolutely,
because.
And but that's why I said, like, for me, it was two things.
Remember, some people take it to the extreme, because I don't know if you guys remember, there was the thing on the news a while back about the teacher who had the photo on their desk. It was like their wedding photo, and they were a same-sex couple, and some parents were making a big deal about that. And there was no kissing on it or anything. I think they were just in the photo together. So some people just go to an extreme. You said what, RJ?
These kids see worse stuff on TV. But gee, what if you were at a movie and you didn't know, a certain scene was gonna come up? You know what I'm saying? You just like, ooh.
And that had happened, even with cartoon movies, and my daughter immediately closes her eyes before I could even cover her eyes. And just like Natasha and Raymond was saying, me and their mom, when we were together for years, and they wouldn't see too much more than a peck in their own household. And we monitored heavily what they watched on TV. I didn't leave the theater to go to the bathroom, go get snacks. I'm there the entire movie. And right away, my daughter would do that before I could even do it. You know,
but would she do that because you had a talk with her, or did she just feel like, you know, I shouldn't be watching, you know what I'm saying, that because, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I never had like a talk with her. I'm pretty sure at some point I would probably cover her eyes, and then she just started doing it herself. It was never a conversation.
And by the way, you just mean just any.
Yeah,
like,
anybody, anybody, yeah, anybody displaying, you know, their tongues down each other's throats.
Yeah, and that's what I get from it. And I think with the picture with the teacher, while the parents was angry, and once again, straight man thinking, straight world thinking is that may influence my child to think that this is okay. And in my household, I don't think this is okay. And that's just their bias, and that's their way of saying that they're not okay with it. Because you're right, it could have been just me and my friend on the picture. You don't know that, but because I divulged that this is actually my spouse, you may have come to the conclusion that you don't want to be displayed.
That's a great point.
I think because they feel, I feel like people feel like same-sex relationships are just really all about sex. So
Right.
you know, misconception. So okay, now you're influencing my child to have sex,
right?
You know, with the same sex or sex period. Now they're thinking about it, and these are just two human beings that love each other.
Absolutely.
And not together.
Right.
And that's a perfect segue into my next story. It is literally when, and Jimmy's heard this probably several times, but it's literally when I when I realized what you just said, when I realized it wasn't just all about sex. But I wanted to highlight what Raymond said earlier. You're absolutely right. There's a straight way of thinking. I don't even say a straight man's way of thinking. Is like the overall sort of energy of society. Right. Society's way of thinking is like a straight person's way of thinking. And right away, we sort of go to that, especially straight individuals. Before I share this story, I do want to go back to the very beginning and say, and get Raymond and Natasha's view on that question about if you come off and you see Raymond on Instagram, and if you pass, first of all, I forgot to give you your flowers. Raymond is like one of the coolest, most laid back people in the world. Same thing with Natasha. These two individuals, and I'm not making this shit up. I know it sounds like I'm kissing ass, but if you know these individuals
so
like
true.
if you know them like I know them, you would understand. Raymond is super helpful. We did a film. I'm so sorry. We did a film. We did 2 films. One that he starred in that we're going to get into a little bit later because it's very relevant to this topic. He was the star of the film. He was also helping moving equipment around, probably held a camera or a mic or 2. Anything you can think of. I think he cooked a couple of Jamaican authentic dishes or something. Like this dude, like he did everything. And he was always the first to volunteer to lend a hand. And I want to give you your flowers as I did everybody else on the first episode. Kudos to you, man. You are an amazing person. And yeah, I'm proud to know you and call you a friend. Absolutely.
Now listen, Natasha was in one of our films too. The scene got cut, but nonetheless, she was in it.
Natasha, I said the first time, like I very rarely heard her speak, but we did Raven's Cry. We did our second film project in their house actually, and I was the first one there, which is a rare occasion. And Natasha, Natasha was the only one there, and just the coolest person in the world, like super cool, super laid back. Like I said, to me, she doesn't talk that much, but what she do is just like cool, mellow, like just what you need.
Island vibes.
I appreciate that. I just
the island vibes.
I find it funny. I see her talk her head off all damn. But I get it.
Yeah.
Now
But-
you have to tell them about how quiet I am.
No. No, when Jimmy get quiet, he tired and he want everybody to get the hell out. But yeah, kudos to both of you. Two wonderful individuals. Can't say enough about you both. I had to give your flowers. Absolutely. But going back to the question, this was a question I had years ago, before I knew better, but to individuals that may think, hey, if Raymond can pass as a straight man, then why even be out? If Natasha can pass as a straight woman, why even be out? Answer that question for us.
Oh, good question. Because just being in the Caribbean background, I was asked that by a few family members, and they know me. I'm going to walk to the beat of my own drum. I'm going to be comfortable, so because it's like, why would you, it came from a few family members, why would you choose to be, different or ostracized or, to be treated differently? You can pass as straight. I just have to be myself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I just really do there hasn't really been any backlash. If I did lose friends, they weren't my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, I really just have to be myself. And that's the only way I'm going to live. The only way I'm going to feel free. The only way I'm going to be able to express myself, love. And that's just it. So yeah, there's no passing over here.
Yeah. So, for me, oh gosh, I live in two worlds, and it's crazy that I said that I live in two worlds, because I do live in two worlds. In America, I am the Raymond that you guys know. When I go home to Jamaica, I'm the straight. You can, I don't want no tight jeans. It had to be some baggy jeans. I don't want to show no sign of gayness when I go home. And it's because of how I was brought up, and I know how Jamaica is. So I don't want to walk down the street and somebody said something to me or approach me in a way that made me fear my own life. But the reason why I chose to come out versus living this life of, okay, people are not going to know that I'm gay, so it's okay if I just do stuff behind the scene. But I got tired of doing that. It seemed like I was hiding who I truly was as an individual to make other people happy. And the person that was feeling all that, self-worthlessness was me. I felt worthless. Like there's nothing worthy about me, because I can truly identify who I am to my own friends and to my own family. But I remember when I came out, and my brother says, but you don't look gay. You don't talk gay. You don't walk gay. You don't sound gay. So I didn't know what that's supposed to be. And sometimes in the community, it's become difficult for me sometimes, because people look at me and say, well, you can pass. Yeah. Well, that's the bad thing. It's like, why do I need to pass in order to be comfortable? Because if I could pass, then what happened is that sometimes people don't approach me, or they don't think I'm approachable because, he's straight, he's that. But it's just the way I was brought up. I can't be nothing else but who I am. And I could not live, quote unquote, being a straight man when I wasn't a straight man, or carry myself as a straight man when I wasn't a straight man. I'm sorry. I carry myself as Raymond. That's it. And if Raymond walk masculine, but I'm a gay man, that's Raymond. If Raymond have a little twitch here and there, that's Raymond. But I'm just me.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, them nurses at the hospital, they be just wanting to fill on Raymond. You know how many sexual he could have, harassment he could have? Because you can't tell them. They just be like, oh my God, his muscles. Oh my God, he's so. And I be like, but where your husband at? Like, where your son at? Yeah. And it be the older ones too.
Oh, stop it. I think it's something about the Jamaican voice.
He got a lot during filming also. By all different sides.
Yeah.
Definitely. Great answers. Also, I lost my notes. But great answers, by the way. I didn't even know. I felt like that was a personal question from me. But both of you can relate. I didn't even expect that, honestly. Let me find my notes here. Maybe this is a good time to segue into a clip from the letter. We're going to show a clip from the film that Jimmy and I put together. Really, it was Jimmy.
Film series.
The film series. I'll put the link in the description where you can go and watch it. It's on YouTube. It's on the Sock Snobs webpage, which is Jimmy Lee, his his alias, one of his many aliases. But we'll show a clip of the letter series that starred Raymond. It was about the LGBTQ plus community. It was very eye-opening for me to do this. It was Jimmy's idea. I kind of jumped in on the project as it was already going, but really enjoyed every single minute of it, with the writing, the production, the filming, everything. It was a blast. So we'll go into a clip from that right now.
How are you feeling? I'm not sure how to feel. You know what we do here. Like, how do I go out and even look at the kids we work with? How do I even tell them this?
It's okay.
It can be okay. It can't. This is what we do, Raina.
Get out my goddamn house!
Half a glass is all I had with you. I tried and I even said I do. But still it's wanting to know. So I'm giving it up. I'm moving on. Oh, baby. I gave you my all. You took from me.
Hussein was the victim of a heinous hate crime in a string of murders of young gay men he's been covering. Detectives say the suspect, who is now in custody, has been responsible for the deaths of at least 5 other men he met using online dating apps.
All right, so that was a clip from the letter series. It was a 4-part series, Jimmy? 4-part series, right?
Yes.
4-part series. Yeah. Was it 3 or 4?
4.
4 parts.
So 4. Okay, I'm gonna take you guys' word for
it.
Yeah, man, it's 4.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, great film. If for the listeners, if you have time to check that film out on YouTube, the link will be in the description. It was a great web series, and I'm not just saying that because I was a part of it. It really was an eye-opening experience for me. Learned a lot. I learned a whole lot about the culture. So now getting into the moment where I literally flashed, like I understood. I was watching All Aboard, Rosie's Family Cruise, Rosie O'Donnell. I looked it up. I think it was 06. I thought it was a lot older than that because I remember being younger, but I thought I was still living with my mom. I was actually very much an adult with my own place at that time. So it's weird. I need to remember where I was when I saw it. But craziest thing, I don't know how I started watching it, but I remember passing it by. I think it was on HBO, whatever channel it came on. I passed it by quite a few times. And one time I was flicking the channels and I went past and it was showing these 2 guys sitting they're on a cruise. They're sitting in their room being interviewed and they're very emotional. So I stopped and looked, what's going on here? And they were having a discussion, and I hope that I'm still on point with this story. I believe they were attempting to adopt one of their nieces as their daughter and raise her. They were already raising her and taking care of her and all that stuff, and they just wanted to make it legal. And they also wanted to get married. This was before, all the states started passing the laws where they could actually get married. And I know a lot of this, I'm trying to stay away from details because it was 06, so I don't remember all the details. What I do remember was a defining moment in my life where I realized that it was not, being gay wasn't about sex. When I saw this man just pour down in tears, and he just expressed like I never heard anybody express before. He said, I love him more than anything. I can't imagine my life without him. And I just want to be with him. And I just want to be able to say, this is my husband. This is my person forever, just like anybody else can. That's all I want. And I got really emotional and I said, well, damn. And then, and this is going to lead me into my next question, I started putting that together with what I was pretty much taught my whole life through I'll say religion, because it feels very religious, but just with the Bible and all of that stuff, that it was not right. And anybody that, you know, goes against what's in the Bible and everything that's in the Bible, whatever, you go against that, you're going to hell. You know, let's just sum it up. You're going to hell. And then I started to put that with, okay, well, I've always been able to tell whether somebody was bullshitting me or just bullshitting in general. And I'm like, this man he loves his partner, like really loves him. This has nothing to do with sex. So I'm sitting here, you know, like just totally blown away. And I'm putting that with, but damn, they still like really cool people, but it's a shame they're going to hell. Well, wait a minute. This don't make sense. This is actually what I'm like processing in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, this don't make sense. And then I started thinking about everybody that I knew, because I've been working where I work at, which I don't give any love to any employer, but I've been doing what I'm doing for well over 20 years. I was a teenager going into what I still currently do as a profession. And in that profession, you know, you meet people that are LGBTQ plus. And I started thinking about everybody that I knew, that I knew personally, that was just like the coolest people. I can even take Jimmy, for example, one of the sweetest, coolest people that you will ever meet, give you the shirt off his back, you know, everything. And I started putting that with
cornbread.
And I started putting that with, how can this person go to hell because of the partner they choose to be with, because of how they feel, who they prefer to be with? It didn't even make sense. This person would not harm a fly, but he going to hell? It didn't make sense. So this was a pivotal moment in my life where I decided I'm not going to feel that way anymore. I mean, I wasn't all the way over there, but that was all that I knew. But I remember deciding I'm not going to feel this way anymore because it don't make sense. And everything that don't make sense, I'm starting to wipe it out of my whole way of thinking at that moment. And I lost my question because I got kind of wrapped up into that. I kind of went back to that moment, but it was pretty heavy for me. Oh, in all of your opinions, how does LGBTQ plus, being gay or lesbian, how does that coexist with spirituality and or religion?
Well, mine gonna be just short and sweet. You know, I'm more. I mean, I was born and raised and bred a Baptist until I got older and started reading and trying to understand and figure things out of for myself. But like you just said, G, how can this, you know what I'm saying, this loving, kind person, you know what I'm saying, who is, you know, all into God and their religion, and they just love this other person? So my thing is, how many people went to hell living their lie? You know what I'm saying? How many people, you know what I'm saying, you know, didn't get a chance to live their truth? And, you know, and God said, you know, you're supposed to, you know, be who you are, or whatever it is they say. But it's like, then a lot of people went to hell because they weren't able to live and be them true selves. So, you know, I just figure on the shoulders that I stand on, you know, I might as well, you know, be myself. And I'm to a certain degree, like, kind of removed from quote unquote religion. Yeah. And mine's become more spiritual, believing in my ancestors and the energies and the goodness of people, So yeah, it's like removing yourself from, it's a white man in the sky that's gonna come down and save you and forgive all your sins.
Yep. Just wait for him. He'll be here like a thief.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Just wait.
Yeah, So when you think about all the things that we've been told and the things that the Bible has been used to perpetrate on us, it's like, well, damn, like, it's a whole lot of other stuff in that Bible, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I just try to, leave that over there, and you know what, one thing they used to give me, because I used to argue a lot, with kind of religious people when I was coming into my own. And I used to question, oh, you loving this God and this white man in the sky, until I had to learn that everybody's religion and spiritual thing is, it's just that it's theirs. It's their personal relationship with whoever their savior is. And I came to the conclusion, Yahweh, God, Jesus, Buddha, Kuda, whatever it is that makes you want to be a better person, I'm rolling with. Whatever it is that makes you want to be a better person, who am I to say that's wrong?
Love it.
Yeah.
So, what's crazy about that question is that growing up, I said I wanted to become a minister. So I started off going to basic school, which was Adventist. And because of going to a basic school that was Adventist, that's connected to a church, that's all I wanted to do was to minister. But, as I get older, I want to say maybe about 9 or 10, I know I was different then, really know I was different, because I was looking at guys in the sense like, oh, he's cute, but I'm not supposed to be looking at him and thinking that, But what I did for most of my life in Jamaica was, especially when I turned a teenager, I started to date girls. I used to run track, so I would date a lot of girls to try to mask the fact that I like guys. And then I started thinking, but this is wrong. Based on what my grandmother, which was a minister, her mother was a minister, my aunt now ministers, based on what they says, my lifestyle is wrong. There was also another thing that they're saying in Jamaica, that if you're gay, you go to the ocean, you're going to sink, because men not supposed to penetrate men in the back. So clearly you're going to be open and water is going to come inside and you're going to sink. As a kid, they said all these stuff in Jamaica, and I used to believe these things. Wow. But when I realized that the Bible and my spiritual being and being gay can coexist, I think is when I turned probably 19. That's when I realized, no, I can be a gay man and still believe in God. I can be a gay man and still believe God loves me, especially each and every time when I would usually hear my mom say, oh, God know what you're going to be before you would me here. Well, if he knew I was going to be a gay man, why would he make me be a gay man only for me to come and sin, only for him to send me to hell?
Exactly.
I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that concept.
Yeah.
And I believe, like G said, I love who I love because my heart tells me to love that person. And if I have a heart that can love someone else, I think that's what we strive to be as people. The Bible says, love thy neighbor like you love yourself. But people will say, oh, he don't mean to be sleeping with them. But me loving someone doesn't always necessarily mean that I'm going to have sex with them.
Right.
Or the relationship that I'm in because I love them is based on just sex. I love them because that's what I feel here.
Yeah.
The sex, the affection is something that comes as a part of being in love with that person. But that's not why I fell in love with them, because if that was the case, I would have fell in love with a lot of people I have sex with. And I don't fell in love with a lot of people I have sex with. So it has to be more than just sex. Church, people are going to say, this is what I usually say about religion. The Bible says one thing, people said something else. But if you think about it, the Bible was written by men. So as a person, I can change words to make you as individual follow my teaching, follow my leading. So for me, I need to find my Jesus, my God, my whoever it is on my own, not just through the Bible. Because everything in the Bible, I don't think is 100% of what the teaching of God, the teaching of Jesus Christ is, the teaching of whoever, Jehovah, whoever we want to say.
Yeah.
I think man manipulate the Bible so that they can be able to control how us as people move, think, and gather. Because why is it okay for me? I'm going to hell for being a gay man, right? But the same pastor that sit up there and preach that I'm going to go to hell for being a gay man, he fornicate, he having sex with other men in church. I could go on with a list of things, but yesterday go on the pulpit and they preach to the demonize. That's not what religion is about. Yeah. Religion, spirituality is about.
That's Johnny Long. Well, that's always been my issue with the structure of church, because just growing up, Baptist, grandfather, father, everybody's a minister and everything.
Yeah.
And I never felt safety really, because it was just so much judgment.
Right.
And like Rhonda, I was asking questions as a kid too. So I'm in Bible study, so if someone's Hindu or whatever, they're going to hell because they don't believe in the same thing we just this population agrees with, and they're like, yeah. It just didn't make sense.
It's almost like you get doomed just because of where you were born.
Right. You going to hell.
Exactly.
So
right.
You was born on 63rd. Oh, y'all.
But if you're born in places in Asia, well, Buddhism is going to be bigger there, right? So you're talking about people who may not ever even hear of Christianity or something else. So.
Right.
But I can build on what Raymond was saying for sure, because you were saying, for two reasons. You were saying that you wanted to be a minister. I actually was one. So I was ordained as a minister. But by the way, that kept me sort of bound. Stop laughing first of all. Yeah, you fuckers know I'm not one now. How about that? No.
He would officiate.
Jimmy would.
You said what, G?
I said you would use that as often as possible. Minister,
Yep. Yeah. But that obviously kept me bounded in the closet. I think in the last episode, I told you I was almost 40 when I was 38. So it took forever to come out. I had sucked a dick or two before then, but nonetheless, I was very much in the closet. So
searching for the one.
I never forget that night you came out to me. I laughed so hard, I was drunk.
But anyway, you said what?
No.
Okay. But anyway, so what I would say about that is that, yes, you do feel the weight of what you've been taught all these years sort of crushing down on you when you are gay or lesbian or whatever. But one thing I want to add, where you say how people will use the Bible to manipulate a population or whatever. What a lot of people don't realize, and I'm so glad, crazy enough, one of my favorite classes in college was comparative religious studies. So you do see that all these different religions are more alike than you would ever realize, for one thing. And then much more to Raymond's point, what people don't know is that until right around World War II, like that 1940s era, all the Bibles before that did not say gay was wrong. And a lot of people don't realize that. You're looking at current Bibles that say that. You get an old Bible. What was very common in Greek and Roman culture was that there would be a man who would be doing sexual stuff with a little boy or whatever. And that is specifically what it said was wrong in the Bible prior to that time. And then they switched it when they, like I said, that was right around World War II. So if you get Bibles that are older than that and you read those same scriptures, they read very differently from what we have. And it's not as biased towards gay people as it is now. And as you guys know, during that time, it wasn't just like during World War II, it wasn't just Nazis killing Jews, but also gays, people who were mentally challenged and everything else. So I think that's important to note that, you know, current Bible says one thing. Older Bibles didn't say that. So you're right, it's left to interpretation. And sometimes those interpretations are what are used to manipulate entire populations. So
absolutely. And you know, G, I was gonna say this because I remember, I want to say I was probably 28 or 29 when I went home to, probably 28, when I went home to Jamaica. And like I remember I said, my family is a preaching family, it's a minister family. Yeah. And I remember getting on the bus with my aunt, and I believe my mom, you know, had told her about my sexuality. And this lady started preaching on the bus. You know, you see people minister down the street, minister. She was on the bus going back and forth on the public bus ministering. And she called me out. She says, what I'm doing is wrong. God says, and I says, I could not wait for the bus to stop at the bus stop so I could get off. But you're just like, at any moment, if somebody on that bus who was so homophobic heard what she said to me, they could have harmed me. Yeah. And I don't think she was thinking about that. She was more thinking about her ministering to me that you could have done at home with me. But instead to bring me out in the light, to try to shine some light on my sexuality.
And that's a very serious risk in Jamaica.
Yes.
So, and the funny, which is weird, you can be tourist and go there and be gay, but if you're from there and gay, oh my God, they don't.
And it's changing, you know. I have to give it to Jamaica. I have to give it to Jamaica that things are changing. You know, just like they have the Gay and Lesbian Alliance here, they have them in Jamaica now, the Human Rights Campaign. You know, there's a lot of stuff that changed. People used to love Jamaican song, Boom Bye Bye in a Batty Boy Head, not realizing that they're actually talking about killing gay people.
Yeah.
You know, Chichi Man for dead. Faggots to die.
Yeah.
You know, we don't understand the culture of the music, but the Human Rights Campaign kicks in and says, no, we can't condone these things because you are helping to send a message that killing homosexual or people who like people of the same sex is right. And it's not right. It's absolutely not right.
You got it.
Absolutely. I wanted to touch on what Jimmy said earlier. I can remember, damn it.
Oh, when I said I had sucked oh no.
No, I didn't want to touch on that at all. I didn't want to touch on that at all. There was something about there was something about the Bible. Maybe it'll come back to me. But I wanted to definitely talk about Task Force and Dr. Bell before we got out of here. Going back to the letter series, and this is definitely relevant to what Raymond just said. Going back to the letter series, I wanted to talk about my experience and how I felt a bit uncomfortable. But then I thought to myself, hey, this is probably how, you know, some of these kids in here, because it's young, it's teenage to like young adults, right?
Yes.
Oh, and I'll let you explain it exactly what it is and all of that. But I thought to myself in the middle of feeling uncomfortable because it was a ball and we were shooting a scene, and I was probably one of maybe one of three people that was straight in there. And I thought to myself, this is probably how they feel every damn day of their lives.
Yep.
And that part made me feel a little bit more comfortable. In fact, it made me feel a lot more comfortable. And I allowed myself to sit in that space and just experience that. You know, I wasn't off to the side. I was working, I was recording, you know, and I was really in tune with everything that was going on. So I was holding the camera, but at the same time, really taking in everything that I was experiencing at the same time. And it was something I had never experienced that before. The ball culture is huge in the community, and I'd never been to a ball and probably never even watched it. Yeah, I had never even watched it on TV before, so that was my first experience. But that was huge for me. But talk into more into detail, either RJ or Raymond or both, about the center and
Well,
task force and everything about that.
well, I'm gonna go back to meeting Dr. Bell in 92, 93, something of that nature. And I wasn't out, I was just that, tomboy or whatever, at that time I think she was in her second year of residency and adolescence at the county. Actually my godmother, Crystal Cash, was Dr. Bell's what do you call it, attending or whatever, and she kind of took Dr. Bell under her wing. So I actually got to see these two beautiful women, actually create something that's still going on to this day. But I would talk to Dr. Bell about stuff, and and I started going to a center called Horizons that was way, way, way up north by Demon Dogs. You know where that's at.
Yeah.
So, and it was it was a drop-in center, but it was nothing like that in the hood. Not on the south side, not on the west side. It was just up north, Boys Town. Where all the gay people were. So that was an experience. I used to tell her about going there and stuff or whatever. And I think it was in about 95, 96 that Task Force came about.
So yes, actually, Task Force, I want to say maybe 93, but it was downtown and it was more catered towards older gay men at the time than what it is now.
Right. And so, however it happened or whatever, because I think then I went off to college, but Dr. Bell was able to acquire the space and made it a safe place for young Black, actually not just Black but Latino, kids of color, basically.
Yeah.
On the west side of Chicago. There's no other place like Task Force in the city of Chicago that's been around as long as Task Force. Those kids come rain, sleet, blizzards, COVID, the whole nine, because it's the only place, and I found this out by going there, that these kids get to go, that they can actually be themselves.
Yes.
They would come after school and they would go in them closets and they would get them donated wigs and heels, and they would just be in heaven.
I've seen it with my own eyes. Yeah.
And I kind of felt like, this what it felt like for me in 92 and 93 to be able to go all the way up north to Horizons. But look how far I had to travel, and it was only, once every couple of weeks or whatever, Task Force, Monday, Wednesdays, the kids can rent this center. So Dr. Bell was profound with that. I wish they would change it to the Dr. Bell Center. That's another story. But this is how she transformed a whole generation of doctors, because Dr. Bell, what she was good at also is writing grants and getting grant writers, because Task Force needed money. What she did was, when they got residents that came in, because when you think about it, these residents are going to be the doctors to these kids. So she would bring the residents in, and it would blow their mind, because they would see the kids in that duck walking and dropping on their knees. And I was like, yeah, y'all gonna have to take care of them in, 20 years or so or whatever. But the doctors, some of them really learned about, being in the community and seeing, the kids outside of them just, coming into the clinic or whatever. So that program was just like phenomenal. And not only, that program was phenomenal, but, Task Force became a place where you could teach, the young youth about safe sex, HIV, whatever it is, they could come there and get tested, one thing I didn't particularly like was that, you know, some people used to, you know, ride on his coattail, because the thing in the city is, you know, we don't have the money, but we have the kids. And then you have the places up north that have all the money, but they can't get the kids because the kids don't feel safe, you know, coming all the way up north. And why should they? When they have, you know, they can have access in their own community, but the money don't trickle down like that, because, you know, where task force is not a beautiful building with an elevator attached to a grocery store. No, it's in the middle of the hood where you have these kids that are contracting HIV and hepatitis and STDs. You know what I'm saying? So it's like she created something that's phenomenal and that's been there for, you know, 25, 30 years. And there's no other place, you know, like it. And it's a shame that, but it's now task force is starting to be acknowledged, you know, within the city for the things that they've done.
So just to highlight just a small little bit more, but because Rhonda is absolutely right. You know, like I said, when task force originally started, it always been around the gay community, but was more targeted towards older gay men. And then they wanted to do something different. So they wanted to open up a school, which was called the School of Applicants, which was the Vogue School. And that's what they refer to it now as the Vogue School, which is task force. But one of the things that is great about task force versus Horizon, because I do have memories of Horizon too. I used to go to Horizon. You know, Horizon, just like Howard Brown, was catered towards the more white gay kids. But, you know, obviously us Black gay kids that didn't have nowhere to go or didn't feel like we could stay at home with our family and we want to express who we were as gay kids. So we'll go to these places because then you can be who you are. You could dress up how you want to dress up. You could kiki the way you want to kiki that I couldn't do at home. But with task force, you know, in the heart of the West Side, it gives the younger folks didn't have to travel all the way north, like Rhonda said, to basically get some of those services. You know, task force is one of those agencies that do just more than provide a safe space, because that's what it is. It is a safe space for young, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning. There are even straight youth that goes to task force just to learn the Vogue. So, like I said, it is a safe space. But they also offer some other services like housing. You know, they have food, some psychosocial services that is available, and they typically get funded through the Chicago Department of Public Health or some federal grant, and which is what they're working off right now, is funding through the city. But, you know, without task force, I don't think a lot of young gay men, lesbian girls specifically, and I'm gonna say people who are truly identify as such, they're not hiding who they are, they want to be who they are, wouldn't have a safe space to be. Because some of these young kids come here and they will tell us, well, look, I can't wear this heel around my house because I might get beat up, but I could come to task force and I could walk around in my heels. I could come to task force and I could put on my pink wig. I could come to task force and I could just speak the way I will want to speak and not, what up, man, trying to change my voice to give a persona that I think my friends and family wants. So it is a marvelous place. I can't say, Rhonda, I have said enough about Dr. Bell, because Dr. Bell is phenomenal in many ways than one. I met her in 97, and, you know, just to be around her and actually be around her and saw her growth, because I remember when Dr. Bell would just be the physician that just go and see patient. And then she went from that physician where, no, I'm going to go out in the community and start doing stuff. When Dr. Martinez, who was the head grant writer, he taught her a lot of stuff, and she take it and she run with it, and she become the community doctor. So when people, you know, hear Dr. Bell's name in the community, they can remember, oh, that is the doctor that love to take care of adolescents. That is the doctor that want to make sure that adolescents stay free of any type of health inequities that may make their life difficult, whether it's HIV, whether it's diabetes, whether it's, obesity. She works on so many different things to make young people's life much better.
And I'll add, and partly to give you guys an explanation as to why I wanted to make sure that was featured in the film. And also it goes into the whole idea of this video, this whole misconception of being gay, because a lot of people don't realize how many of these young people are getting kicked out of their homes when they're 12, 13, 14 years old, when they tell their family members they're gay. And just like you guys were saying, I've seen people at the Task Force Community Center. Literally, I've watched people get off of the bus and, walk into, what up, man, whatever, and literally walk through the door, dip over into that closet, grab a red wig and a pair of heel boots and turn into a whole different person. And I've seen the transformation, like literally before my eyes. So what she did was, like you said, a wonderful thing. And RJ introduced me to Dr. Bell when we were in high school. That's how long ago it was. And but what she's done there, I think, has been phenomenal. So I think Dr. Margot Bell needs to get her flowers as well as we do this. So, but I think that was very important to feature in the film, because those types of safe spaces, social services, like you said, housing assistance, assisting folks with testing and with their transitions and all of that stuff. Those are very important resources that they would otherwise not have and are not available for marginalized communities. So, so I wanted to make sure they were highlighted and done properly. And, because we have to sort of tell our own stories sometimes because nobody else was telling it. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Bell. Yeah, that's amazing. We definitely need more places like this in the community. I want to say I witnessed it myself from just my own perspective. Like I said, I kind of gave, my part. Yeah, I was there doing a film, but I was very much 100% involved in this project. I wanted it so bad. The Misconception of GAY was an idea back then also. Like I said, I didn't know if it was going to be a film or whatever, but I don't think I even shared it with Jimmy. I didn't share it with anybody. That's how much of a jewel I felt like it was, because here I am, this sponge, being able to be in these different situations and just soaking up experiences. I saw firsthand and I felt firsthand the energy of the kids coming in and going in the closet and everything. Because I had given some clothes. And that just reminded me also, I'll talk to RJ offline, because I got a ton that I was just going to take locally, and I don't want to do that. That's why I've been holding on to it, and we'll talk offline. But I literally saw kids putting on the stuff that I had just brought. And we don't realize, straight America, let's say the straight world, straight males, we don't realize how easy it is for us to just navigate the world, to just walk around and be our masculine sports playing selves and whatever this, we like I said, you can say society thinks like a man, thinks like a straight man or whatever. That's the foundation of the thought. That's how I view it. And it's very unfair. And we don't realize how easy we have it just being able to be ourselves as soon as we walk out the door. But I witnessed that and I felt it, each and every single person coming in there and really being themselves. So I got a look or two like, who the hell is this guy? But it was, it was nothing about me. It was just they were there in their space of comfort. And I was like, wow, it was an amazing thing to witness. And like I said, I'm glad it was captured in film. Please check out, if you're listening to this, please check out the Letters series. Once again, I'm not saying this trying to promote something that we did, we all had a part of. RJ, I forgot to. RJ was whooping ass in there. I just thought about that. But it was a great film.
Hey, but you know something that I experienced at Task Force that really touched me one day. It was this pretty little straight girl, and one of the boys was her really good bestie.
Yeah.
And one day she brought her boyfriend. She made her boyfriend come to the center with her.
Yeah.
And he was just like, and he stayed the whole time and, kikied and caca with the boys. But it was, and they say the children shall lead them. And it was just amazing to me how, he liked this girl enough and her best friend is gay, but he's going to come to the center and just, hang out and vibe. And it's almost like he'll get a better understanding of, like, oh, they just like us. They like to kick it and, do their thing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So to me, that's where, a task force, comes in too.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Crazy. That is crazy.
Man, we cannot say enough about it. It shouldn't be the only place. Thank God that it exists, but it shouldn't be the only place. There should be tons of places like this in these communities, and hopefully this will sort of set it off.
Abandoned buildings and property the city got, they ain't got nothing for the kids to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I actually helped a friend set up one in another state, modeled off of what Dr. Bell did there. I just ran down all of the services that that you guys are providing here.
And it's a model that probably can be done anywhere. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? In these underserved communities, anywhere in this country.
Yep. Absolutely. And by the way, this was a straight woman setting this up because of a family member who was sort of being ostracized and did not have any. She looked and could not find any resources in her city.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah. And now the place is popping. So
And that's usually how it starts, Jimmy. And it's unfortunate that sometimes it takes someone personal experience to open their box up. Yeah, come out of it and see that around them there's everything else other than them. Because you're absolutely right. Because without people having direct impact of it, they just overlooked it. It's not my issue. It's not me. Yeah. And it's not just about the gay thing. It's anything in life. We tend to just bypass it because it have nothing to do with us. Mm-hmm. But in retrospect, it does have everything to do with all of us.
Absolutely. Once again, I cannot thank all of you enough. I've taken up enough of your time. I cannot say thank you enough. The knowledge that each and every one of you shared on here is remarkable. I always learn a lot just being around each and every one of you. It's always a good time. Always fun times. Once again, shout out to Dr. Bell. What she's doing with Task Force is great. I'm going to put the links below with Raymond's permission. If anybody out there that's listening that may want to throw a little donation to the center, I'll with Raymond's permission, I'll put his socials, or even with RJ, I'll put your socials in there, because Raymond's a model and an actor, and he does it all also. So, if you want to contact him.
I'm looking for work.
Well, take off your shirt.
God, sometimes I just don't want to always be half naked.
Hey, I told you
I'm a person. I got feelings.
Right.
Not just this body.
Yeah, I have to say that a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining me on this episode. This is episode 31 to recap. The Misconception of Gay, and hopefully with episode 30 and 31, we cleared up some of the misconceptions, if not all, for our listeners out there. Remember, if you're listening on a traditional podcast, you can always watch it on rumble.com/user/the D.A.M podcast. There's also a YouTube channel that just started. It has episode 20 and up. So this will be on both of those channels. It's a bag up. YouTube is a bag up. Because of all their rules, Rumble, you can put pretty much anything on there. So I'll continue to do both channels. And if you're watching us and you don't have time to watch the next episode, you prefer to listen, all you have to do is search Daylight and Moonshine on any platform that streams podcasts. We're on all of them. So you can check it out on the go. When you're on the go, just pop an earbud in and listen to our shenanigans. So anybody got anything in closing that you want to say to the world about the misconception of gay?
I'll say this, and we couldn't do this without, having an opportunity to say something very simple. Just don't be cruel. Don't be assholes. This is a community where suicides are high. A lot of people have lost their lives who are gay, lesbian, trans because of being bullied or whatever, and then they're driven over the edge. Like I said, people who are thrown out of their homes and find themselves in situations where they're living with folks they shouldn't be living with, doing drugs they shouldn't be doing, and everything else. So it's already a tough community, and there's segments, because there's this idea that the gays, they get whatever they want now and all of this stuff. Listen, there are levels to everything. So there's mainstream gay, there is minority gays, urban gays, whatever. So there are levels to this, and everybody is not out here just winning. It's hard for a lot of people. So don't be the butthole that sends somebody over that bridge or whatever. So that's one thing I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say.
Real quickly, I do want to throw this. I just remember what I couldn't remember earlier. Can we clear up real quick the difference between, or just clear up in general? I don't want to even set it up, but let's clear up the correlation between just being gay and being a pedophile. You mentioned it earlier in the about the Bible in general when they were talking about so
that's another misconception.
A huge misconception.
I can't say everything I want to say right now, but
you just had a teacher that just got caught with her 16-year-old student sending him nudes or whatever. Then he was blackmailing. Pedophilia, goes with all the races and the colors and men and women.
And less likely amongst gay men, actually. Right. Let me tell you one thing that people don't realize about pedophilia. They call them predators for a reason, right? And the reason they are predators, just like any other predator out there in the jungle or whatever, you select your prey very carefully. You are going to, had you ever realized that the folks who are almost always preyed upon are marginalized folks, girls, poor people, gay boys, because you're not going to tell nobody, or they're not going to believe you, or you know what I mean? So if you're going to be a pedophile, the most important part is choosing your victim carefully. Somebody who is either not going to tell or not going to be believed if they do, right? So this idea that, you're gay, so you got to be out here touching little boys' booty holes is stupid, right? And look at how many quote unquote straight men have been caught or learned, we learned later that they were molesting a young boy, got whole wives. And the closet culture contributes to that too, right? So you have folks who are married with kids in relationships and have been gay their whole lives, but couldn't come or don't feel that they can come out, and this is what they do. You know what I mean? So those are the types of things to consider. And the funny thing is, half the time when you're pointing the finger at the gay person in the family, asking if, did Uncle Ronnie touch you or whatever? No, it was your fucking husband that touched him. All right. So that is one thing that I want to add about pedophiles.
Yeah, pedophiles are attracted to children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Gay, lesbian, us people, we like grown peoples.
Yeah. I was just going to say that. So we can safely say that an adult gay man or lesbian woman will look at a child just like a straight man or woman will look at a child. That's a child.
Yes.
And a pedophile will look at it.
Absolutely.
And a predator.
That's
Okay.
prey.
That's what I wanted to clear up.
And the crazy part about this is I'm a gay man. And if you're 24, I think you're too young.
Yeah.
Why am I even going to look at anything younger than that?
Yeah.
My mind is not there. I don't think your sexuality determine your pedophilia.
Absolutely. not.
It's something here that does. It's not being gay or being straight. But, you know, one of the things that, okay, you can finish it because I was going to, this is one thing you wanted to say.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I could go right into it?
Yeah, go right into it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the one thing that I want people to understand that, you know, just like people come in all different color, different size, different shape. Gay people comes the same. Yeah. You have gays that are over the top. You have gays that are in the middle, and you have gays that are just humble.
Gay.
No, just humble. You just like, you don't need to know that I'm gay to rock with me. If you're gonna rock with me because you're rocking with me. So I don't need to showcase my sexuality to the world to says, but I'm still a gay man and I still carry myself as such. But I'm not gonna be out there kiki screaming and lollygagging and all the other things. And then the other thing that I feel very bad about, because I remember this happening, is like when I worked at Laura's, I had a group of straight carvers. And obviously I wasn't the only gay person that works there, but they would not hang out with the other person because they were very flamboyant. Mm-hmm. And they would hang out with me because it says, you don't look gay, so you can pass. If we're out on the street and they're from the hood, our boys would think you're straight. And I was okay with that because it makes me fit in, but not realizing that I was ostracizing someone else because they did not fit those individual frame of mind. So, you know, we are all different people and we have to understand that we're not going to react or think the same, and I have to be okay with that.
Absolutely.
And it's not all about sex. Because if so, I wouldn't be gay because I don't have, well, anyway, I'm just out here dry.
Okay, I'm finna go. I need some tacos.
I was just about to say, Natasha, RJ, you got anything in closing?
I love y'all.
I just want everyone to be more compassionate towards each other.
Yes,
definitely.
We're all human. We're all, having a human experience. So
absolutely,
just be kind to one another.
Y'all get ready for the end of the days, okay? Go get tacos.
All right, we'll wrap it up. Once again, thank every single one of you for coming. I hope that you come back, each and every one of y'all, on a different topic. We can chop it up and have some fun. Please come back. Dr. Bell, your flowers are waiting for you. Also, if she wants to come to the Daylight and Moonshine and talk about whatever, please come on through. Okay, so we'll wrap it up. Thank y'all for coming out. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please join us on the next episode 32. And until then, we love y'all and we out.
All right.
Guys, bye.
Bye.